I am blessed to live on a small plot of land with tall cottonwoods and thick willows lining the creek. Magpies call quietly at this time of year from the high wood snags jutting through the foliage. Heavy black crows glide above the open meadow, croaking their world view down to the earthlings. This spring I saw 4 golden-breasted travelers in my woods for a week or so, stopping for some feasting and resting along their migratory route north. Some of the birds passing through our beautiful state didn't fare so well. In March, down in Roswell, near the Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge, 1,200 snow geese, mallard ducks, Ross's geese, and other wildlife were found dead or dying in a field of alfalfa. You didn't hear much about it on the news, a 15-second report from an attractive blonde newscasterette on one of the local channels. But that's a lot of rotting carcasses, sort of an old factory disaster if you live in a neighborhood. According to researchers from Ontario, Canada, it is not only the larger numbers of birds, but also their colonial or gregarious behavior and locally high densities that cause substantial changes to plant assemblages. Individual nesting colonies expand outward to occupy all suitable habitat. Fecal droppings have accumulated, and conditions may favor the spread of parasites and diseases, end quote. Sounds just like us, doesn't it? The word pesticide refers to chemicals that kill creatures that humans have decided are pests. It seemed briefly that we'd learned from the widespread and disastrous use of DDT in the 1940s that pesticide use was detrimental or fatal to our bird populations, among other living beings. So now we manufacture and export our DDT to other countries. For instance, Latin America, which is also the destination for many of our migratory birds from Canada and the US. This is hard to understand, but let's move along. Perhaps it will become clearer. I'm home now. It's the new year, the year 2001. So let's drink a toast to those who passed away in the years gone by. This one is for the birds, for the white-breasted nuthatch, the cedar waxwing, the dark-eyed junco, the crow. It's for the northern flicker, the lesser goldfinch, the water pipits, and the chipping sparrows. Here's one for the fox squirrel, the turkey vulture, the yellow-rumped warblers, the eastern meadowlark, and the raven. And let's not forget the 27,000 red-winged blackbirds, cowbirds, starlings, and horned larks in Illinois who dined and died from wheat grain treated with Furadan 4F, scattered over the fields with the express intention of killing them. While we're at it, let's crook our elbows to the farmer's daughter. May she never be a naughty girl and wander into daddy's field at the wrong time. Here's to the red-tailed hawk that ate the poisoned starling, and the bald and golden eagles that dined on the pronghorn carcasses baited with carbofuran. Here's to the 3 bald eagles, 2 red-tailed hawks, and the coyote pair that feasted on dead sheep carcasses laced with Furadan 4F in Cortland County, Kansas. Let's hear it for the foxes and raccoons that were served poisoned eggs in South Dakota the day after my birthday. Hurrah! Long live landowners' rights, democracy, ignorance, self-determination, greed, the indomitable will of mankind. 40 years ago, Rachel Carson warned us about the dangers of DDT and its persistence in the web of life. It is her famous book, Silent Spring, that comes to mind as I follow the trail of death, mostly birds, left in the wake of Furadan 4F, the chemical widely used across the United States to kill insects on alfalfa, corn, cotton, potatoes, rice, and other crops. The snow geese kill at Bitter Lake is an unusual opportunity for people who wish to live in a world that supports the sound of birdsong, the howling of coyotes, the sight of a bald eagle or red-tailed hawk perched on a snag waiting immobile for his prey to move. It's an opportunity to stand up and say to this particular pesticide company, we withdraw your right to kill our wildlife. Are we a people who have choice and exercise it? Shall we, through our silence, give the ownership of death to a corporation in the business of manufacturing poison for profit and in blatant disregard for the health of living creatures? Let us demand a stop to the poisoning of our wildlife. No one in government is going to do this for us. The New Mexico Department of Agriculture will not take responsibility because they claim the poison was applied in accordance with the label instructions. A false claim. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has closed its investigation into these deaths. The EPA does not have the guts to ban a pesticide that even the manufacturer admits can kill birds when accidentally eaten. The death toll from spraying Furadan 4F mounts with each use. Beneficial insects, earthworms, fish, birds, and scavenger animals are the victims of our insatiable drive to control nature and profit. From 1945 to 1998, the use of insecticides increased tenfold in the United States, and crop losses due to insects nearly doubled in that time. More insecticides do not translate into fewer pests or higher crop yields. The agrochemical companies that claim that their products are improving yields or solving insect problems are lying to us, lying to sell a product that is harmful to our environment and the web of life that sustains all of us. The goose and the farmer are caught in the vise of a nasty system, one that devalues the lives of both. The family farmer is as much a member of an endangered species as the bald eagle. The farmer who sprayed his alfalfa with Furadan 4F is making no more profit on his crop than his father did in the 1970s. He can't afford to use organic pesticides, and the soil is now so degraded by persistent use of chemicals that it can't maintain the balance inherent in a healthy environment. Epilogue. The statistics in this essay are based on figures from the EPA and the U.S. Geological Survey's Wildlife Incident Mortality Report. Often the great victories for nature are won with a sigh and the turning of a page in the tome that records the struggle of humanity to coexist with other living beings. One such chapter came to a close on November 6, 2007, when the EPA decided to ban the use of Furadan 4F. It took 10 years of study and deal-making to bring it about, and countless unnecessary deaths to wildlife in the interim. But hopefully the future will be safer for our fellow beings. And I would just have another little postscript. When this corporation stopped selling it in the United States, they were selling it in particularly Kenya, Africa, South America. They just, I think to get rid of their stocks, they started selling it elsewhere. And now, carbofuran, which is the toxic element, is still sold under other names. But they now have something called carbofuran 5F instead of 4F. I haven't looked up the ingredients, but it's carbofuran. So, oh dear. It's, you know, in a way, the real tragedy is it's just another corporation doing business.
But still, they are accountable.
Yeah.
Or should be.
Well, they have their warning labels.
Yeah. They have their lawyers is what they have.
Yeah, they have their lawyers.
Yeah, and their lobbyists.
Yeah. So.
That was very moving.
Yeah, it's a very sad story.
It is.